Don't want to pay for staging your home for sale? Would you rather save some money and do it yourself? Well, it might not be the smartest idea I've had to do a video on how basically not to use our services and, do it yourself. But the bosses did end up signing off on this video, so let's get on with it. We have two real examples today of properties that we staged for sale, where Phoebe is going to talk to you about how she would go about getting the homes ready for sale if she was doing it without the use of a home staging company. We're not just talking about staging, we're talking about other things you can do to get your home ready for sale, including painting, small renos, lights, curtains, rugs, artwork, and landscaping. Let's go to Phoebe to get started.
We are focusing on an episode today where we're looking at doing the styling yourself. Obviously, in an ideal world, you would get Foxy through to do the styling of your property, but budget does have to be a limiting factor for some people, and it does have to be a consideration for others. In the situation where your budget doesn't stretch to get the styling done, what can you focus on to get the most out of your property when you bring it to sale? So there are a couple of things I'm going to run through. There are cosmetic easy touches. There are cosmetic bigger finishes. There are changes that you can do with existing furniture, and then there are smaller changes that you can do as far as layout and everything goes in a home. So if we go on the cosmetic bigger touches, this property that we did a couple of weeks ago up in Middleton, you can see this home is a pre-loved home. It's a older style property. When we came through to do the consultation, we actually had very distracting paintwork that was peeling from the ceiling. Our recommendation to the owner was that was definitely worth spending some pre-sale dollars on getting it corrected. Not necessarily the entire property, but getting at least everything on the ceiling fixed so that our attention wasn't necessarily drawn to the ceiling, then drawn to any other issues that we have within the home. The styling would keep the eye down, keep the buyers distracted from any other love marks that we have in the property. But if we have something that's really very obvious that sticks out in a room, like the paint that was peeling from the ceiling, that is something buyers can't move past. That was a very big recommendation. I'm not 100% sure how much that did cost to get that repaired and fixed. We then did the styling. Now you can see we still have some dated fixtures. We have older style curtains, which in an ideal world, I'd suggest to switch them out to sheer curtains. Sheer curtains are $10 each from Kmart. They are a very, very fantastic addition that helps to modernize, but also provides subtle ambient light. Everything else is as is in this property. You can see it still presents really beautifully because we've been able to bring in the furnishers that are going to lift it that extra level. Say you don't have the budget to bring in the furnishing. What you can do, what it needs to be very important for you to consider is reverting the floor plan in your home back to its original intent and purpose. When we're living in a home, we might create a room into a kids' playroom. We might make a space into a study. Those spaces need to be presented as they are in a floor plan. So is it the formal dining that we changed to a playroom? Get it back to a formal dining. Have we gone and forced a study into a space that should have a bed? Get a bed in that room because it's going to equate to a higher sale price. They're very easy changes that can create a very big impact on your final sale price because your floor plan makes sense, it's cohesive, and it gives a better end product. One thing that we might consider doing when we're doing it ourselves is to go with something minimal in a room. So I've seen where we've popped just the idea of a playroom, so just pop a TP. That will have the adverse effect to your sale price. My biggest recommendation is to get a bed. You can get a bed for $10 off Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is gold for helping you get it to the level that you need it to be. It doesn't need to be made with cushions and artwork and bedside lamps, but at least try and get a bed in there with some sort of bed cover on it that will look and have a really good end impact. Now, if we go back a step further, yes, living in a property while we're selling it, we have to have it functional for us being there. You don't want the buyers to see that you're living there. So declutter, get rid of as much of those everyday pieces as you can. Clear off your vanity tops, clear off your kitchen tops, pretend that you're not living there, because that then enables your buyers to imagine themselves living there. There are other simple fixes that you can do to make your home feel brighter. Switch out your light bulbs, clean your light fixtures, make sure you have no branches that are hiding all your beautiful windows. They're the easiest, most straightforward changes you can make to your home that have the biggest impact at the end of the day. Now, I can't advise you, if you've got $500 in the budget, I can't advise you what's going to be the best way to spend that $500. It's very case specific. I have lots of discussions about curtains, changing out your light fixtures. We've had other ones where we've switched out door handles and kitchen handles. It just really depends on your home and what it needs to get it presented perfectly to get to the market and what you're willing to compromise on. Don't forget, first impressions are obviously critical. It's the whole point we have a business, but those first impressions start start at your driveway. They start when the person pulls up to the front curb. So your landscaping doesn't need to be on point, but it needs to present really, really well at low maintenance. Pick up all those twigs, give the lawn a mow, and make sure that the edges are trimmed. Really simple, straightforward changes that make somebody fall in love from the driveway and not waiting till they get to the home.
So that was our first example, and Phoebe also touched on some general tips on what you can do to get your home ready for sale. We're now off to our second example, where Phoebe is on site at a job to talk through removing personal items, hanging fixtures, paint, furniture, curtains and rugs.
All right guys, so we are in a property in Carindale. This is a beautiful, I would say quite typical property for Carindale. It's more of a traditional home. We have come in, it is a pre-loved home. So by pre-loved, I mean a home that somebody has lived here. So we are coming in without a fresh coat of paint. We're not coming with new carpets. We are bringing that overlay to help distract from everything. So how do you go about doing this for yourself if you're getting into the property to the market without us? So there are a couple of things. When we lived in a property, we will generally, almost always, have wall hangings, wall fixtures up on the walls where we have hung artwork over time. Where we've hung wall hangings, we might have stuck something up on the wall. I know some people have stickers up in their walls in their kids' rooms, some sort of all the decals. First protocol is to remove most of anything that is personal. So there would never be any photo frames or any personal images in any of the artwork you ever see us mount on a wall. So for me, that also includes beautiful framed artwork of personal photography. I'm not going to go and get those shots from the 50s of somebody in their bikini. I'm not going to have photos of the ladies with the big hats. That's just not the way that we like to style, because I think there's too much personality there to still involve. We go with something abstract, we go with something simple, and most of the stuff that you find through here, you will be able to see in shops throughout. First point is to cover anywhere where you've got a hook. So there was a hook here previously. There was a matching hook on the other side. Everywhere I've tried to cover existing fixtures. You see the fixtures more than a buyer will. So there might be little marks here that you will notice, but I know the buyers will not see those when they walk through, when they have a cohesive finish to distract them. But if we can do our best to try and cover anything that is quite predominant, so quite large, anything with a gyprock plug, any of the big mounts that we used to use, the really, really big 5-prong wall hangings, try and get something over the top of them, not to do the wrong thing, but to distract from it, because it's there for as a wall hanging. That's what you're hanging on, a picture up on it. The other part is over time, the walls will fade. Sunlight, everything like that. When you take down your pieces, make sure there is no obvious fading of that wall paint. Otherwise, pop a nice big piece of artwork up. The other things that we do, this home is quite dark. So you can see in here, we have brick behind Cody, we have terracotta floors, we have what would be old school hog's bristle on these walls. Old school hog's bristle is fantastic. It's a wall color. It is really, really good if you have a family. It's fantastic for hiding dirty family kid prints up the hallway, scooter marks up the hallway, but it is not good for generating great light. So we would classically now come in and give it a coat of paint. We'll go for something like Dulux, half quarter, maybe some Lexicon, antique white, something like that we would be putting on these walls. That's not what we're doing here. That's what most people wouldn't do if you were doing it yourself. I would then switch out your bigger elements. If you've got darker timber, you need to make it lighter. It is worth investing in a glass top dining table, maybe some fabric chairs, something to make it lift and go lighter. If we had dark features, dark furniture in here with a home with dark features, everything is going to feel very dark. Buyers are after natural light. Another way we can do it is by taking down our wall hangings. You can see on this half of the house, most of our wall hangings are down. This half of the house is very important to have good light through, because we've added, after the home has been built, added out a veranda. The veranda has limited the light that's come into this half of the house. So if we had window furnishings, it would be very, very dark in already a dark home. There are sheer curtains on the front of this home. My suggestion would be to take those down, either replace them with white or go with no window furnishings. Window furnishings are incredibly personal. They are the first thing that buyers will often get rid of, and I just don't see them being worth the return on investment as far as a seller goes. Other things that we do, floor rugs on areas of carpet that have high thoroughfare and high traffic. That way the density pile on the carpet won't show, it'll be distracted from. These are all elements of purchasing a pre-loved home. You're not buying something brand new, so buyers don't necessarily expect that there be brand new elements in your home. If you can do your best to distract them from the pre-loved elements, your sale price will benefit.
So that is it for this week's Foxy TV. I hope you found that information and the examples helpful on how you can get your property ready for sale. If you have questions or comments, just leave them in the comment section below or send us a message and we will get back to you. See you next week.